Good evening, South Central Texas. I'm Chief Forecaster David here with your weather updates. Today is April 1st, 2025. Let's go ahead and get to the latest details on your weather. So here is what we're tracking. First off, coming up here in your forecast, we're going to be talking about what is a cap. We're going to talk about how this works and everything and how storms can initiate. Also, we're going to be talking about severe weather threats in our forecast 5 days in a row here in Central Texas. And as we approach Friday and Sunday, even more threats of severe weather in our forecast with pretty decent rainfall totals in our forecast. We'll take a deep dive into what that could look like here coming up here in just a few minutes. One thing I want to talk about, we have a storm weather alert day in effect for Friday for isolated to numerous severe thunderstorms across portions of South Central Texas and for parts of the Lone Star State. The timing will be from 7 in the morning on Friday to 1 a.m. Saturday morning, so it'll be an on and off severe weather threat day for our Friday and parts of Saturday. Some impacts could be some damaging winds, perhaps some large hail, also the possibility for some possible flooding. So let's go ahead and take a deep dive and x-ray through things. What the Storm Prediction Center is hinting out, they're predicting that a level 1 out of 5 marginal risk, some severe weather may try to occur out in the northern parts of the hill country. I don't really think we'll have much in terms of severe weather for our area today. Looking at some weather models earlier today, it's showing that not a whole lot of storms could happen this evening or tonight for our viewing area. But of course, we'll keep our eyes on this closely. But it has been hinting that storms will bust through the cap off towards the yellow zone here. That's a level 2 out of 5 slight risk of severe weather. And look at that. You see that orange? That's a level 3 out of 5 enhanced risk of severe weather for Oklahoma and Kansas. They're expecting a pretty decent tornado outbreak over there later tonight. So, of course, here on the Storm TV network channel, we'll have the latest and keep eyes on this closely. But again, we're going to have this cap environment. The question is, can we get storms to build? Again, we'll break down what that looks like here in a moment. Again, level 1 out of 5, marginal risk of severe weather for far northwestern Gillespie County, parts of Mason, Llano, and Burnett counties. As we approach Wednesday, majority of central Texas is under this level 1 out of 5 marginal risk of severe weather. There is a level 2 risk of severe weather for Waco towards Dallas-Fort Worth, and once again, some tornadoes could be quite concerning for parts of Tyler, Texas, Shreveport, going all the way into parts of Arkansas. Of course, we'll keep our eyes on that for our friends towards our northeast. But once again, as I mentioned, we're going to have this cap environment across the area. So as we zoom this in into Wednesday across our viewing area, you can see from near Bernie to Lockhart to Bastrop to the south of Giddings, areas northward in this level 1 risk of severe weather. If we can get any storms that can develop, again, either today or Wednesday, we could have some large hail and some damaging winds. Yesterday evening, we had some unexpected thunderstorms that erupted down towards Bexar County and San Antonio. These were severe. We had reports of hail up to golf balls, even a tornado possible yesterday. The wind gusts up to 70 miles per hour. Unfortunately, there was tons of damage done, especially near that SeaWorld area. So again, with unexpected storms to develop with this cap environment, storms were able to bust through the cap, and again, that prompted some severe storms earlier yesterday evening. So Thursday's weather outlook here. Yes, we have another threat of severe weather. Level 1 out of 5, marginal risk of severe weather just north of Austin, but includes parts of the hill country and our northern counties. And yeah, level 2 risk of severe weather for DFW, parts of Waco, Tyler, and Shreveport. And zooming it into our viewing area for your Thursday, again, level 1 out of 5 risk of severe weather from Thorndale to Fredericksburg, points north. If storms can develop, we'll have some large hail and perhaps some damaging winds. But now on Friday, we have more of a higher confidence of seeing actually widespread thunderstorms. We'll actually see a frontal boundary that will prompt some storms into our area. The frontal boundary will come in from the north to the south and will stall somewhere in this vicinity and will bring us some pretty good rain chances, which we'll break down here again in a moment soon. So you can see level 2 out of 5, slight risk of severe weather, goes from San Antonio. This is actually for the entire viewing area going all the way up towards northeast Texas. You can see majority of our counties here are highlighted in this yellow shaded color. Large hail and damaging winds are all possible for our Friday. So again, something we'll have to keep our eyes on as we approach April 4th. And on your Saturday, we're keeping eyes on this very small level 2 risk of severe weather, barely clipping Milam County. Earlier at some model runs, they were saying some storms may make it further closer to Austin, but now they're saying mainly off towards our east. But you can imagine a level 1 risk of severe weather could be printed in our far eastern counties as we get a new outlook bringing in the marginal risk of severe weather as we approach probably Thursday or Friday. So let's go ahead and break down what exactly a cap is. So for today, for our Tuesday, April 1st and April 2nd, Wednesday, and even April 3rd on Thursday, we're going to be in a cap environments. The question is can any storms develop? Can they build? And if they do, we can see some impacts with some large hail and some damaging winds. So first off, cap environments. This is meaning as the day heats up, we'll have warm updrafts that will begin to form throughout the day, especially in the afternoons where we have the peak time of the heating. But this will be developing up towards the atmosphere with the warm air layer aloft. As the temperatures keep falling with height, warm air will continue to rise and end up towards the warmer part up here. This is where we mostly have this is like the atmosphere area. This is where we'll have some cooler air. If there's cooler air up on top, warmer air coming up, and that's cooler air that comes back down, we'll start to see the possibility where some large hailstones could start to occur. That's when we're in the uncapped environment. But if the updraft hits a layer or a certain temperature, it is unstable to continue upward to form larger clouds or even stronger. So what this cap means, as we have warm air aloft, if this cloud can't get more north, if the updraft can't go much stronger up to the north, we won't see much out of it. But when we're in an uncapped environment, this is where we have big time heating that will start to occur. And this is when we have the cooler air aloft that starts to really rise up and the warmer air coming in from the ground levels coming up to the storm. That's where we start to see the cap start to weaken and can be broken, allowing storms to develop. So again, that's the difference on what cap and uncapped looks like there. So how things are going to work is we'll have a towering cumulus stage. This is what you would see if a storm is trying to develop an uncapped environment. So you can see some warm air coming aloft, as I mentioned. But as we take a look at the mature stage here, we got warm air coming in. This is where the hail would start to develop right in this area. So again, this is where this is going to be where the cooler air is happening. And then the large hail potential would come out of the storm where we have these blue arrows. That is the cooler air, the downdraft. Of course, you got the lightning, and then you got the rain happening down towards the far south. But we got some anvil clouds. And when I was on my way home yesterday from from school, we could see the anvil clouds all the way from where I'm at in the hill country. So anvil clouds can go several miles away from the parent thunderstorm. And then as you look here, our dissipating stage of a storm, this is storms like this could happen in minutes or can last a couple of hours. And then this is an idea of what a dissipating stage of a cloud could look like. You can see the thin anvil clouds out in the sky. So returning to your forecast today, we're going 83 degrees, partly cloudy, warm and windy. We got south-southeast winds at 15 to 25 miles per hour for the next couple of hours this evening. And then for tonight, we're going 70 degrees with cloudy skies, very mild and windy today or this evening going into tonight with wind gusts approaching 40 miles per hour. Rain chances, we have a 20% for your Wednesday. Again, the cap environments for today and Wednesday, so it's a very small chance of precipitation. If they can build, the rain chances will start to go up, a very tiny rain chance. 40% Thursday, we'll keep eyes on that. And then for Friday, 60% rain chance and a 40% on Saturday. How much rain could we get in the next couple of days? Anywhere from a few hundredths to a quarter of an inch to half an inch of rain, but upwards to 4 inches of rain. Areas northeast of Austin, something we'll have to continue to keep our eyes on. Flash flooding threat, we have a level 1 out of 4 marginal risk of flooding for parts of Williamson, Milam, Blanco, Gillespie, Burnett, Llano, and Mason counties for our Friday. And then on Saturday, no threat of flooding is in the forecast. So why is there so many rain chances? A cold front will be coming in from the north as we get into Thursday and Friday. And then as we get into the front, we'll continue to move south. And what's going to happen is the storm's frontal boundary here will stall right on top of us. And that will bring us some pretty decent rain chances throughout the day on Friday into the overnight hours. So something we'll have to keep our eyes on. But as we go ahead and take a look at your 7-day forecast, we're going mid-80s for your Wednesday. Cold front will come in, as I mentioned, knock us down to the mid-70s on Thursday. We'll warm things back up, 80s and tons of moisture and humidity for Friday with 83 degrees with, again, on and off thunderstorms. So 40% rain chance Friday morning, 60% during the day, up to a 90% Friday night into Saturday. Again, some storms could be severe with some large hail, damaging winds, and some heavy rain also could occur. Of course, we'll continue to keep our eyes on this closely. And after that cold front comes in, we'll have some morning storms lingering into Saturday with mid-60s for highs and down to the lower 60s on Sunday. And look at this, we rebound things back up to the 70s by early next week. Of course, make sure to check out the Storms YouTube channel at Storm TV Network, and of course on our official X page, Storm TV Network, and of course you can follow my socials on X, YouTube, and Instagram at DavidALFWX. That's your storm weather updates. You guys stay weather aware and have a wonderful afternoon and evening.